My friends, let me tell you something that will stir your soul today. And God is not finished with you. Right now, in the hidden places where eyes cannot see and ears cannot hear, God is preparing a blessing that will shock even your enemies. A blessing so mighty, so undeniable, so overwhelming that those who doubted you, those who mocked you, those who tried to bury you, will stand frozen in disbelief as the hand of God lifts you higher than they ever imagined possible. You may feel overlooked today. You may feel forgotten. You may feel pressed down by the heavy weight of trials. But heaven is not silent. God is crafting something powerful in the unseen. And when it comes forth, no power of darkness, no whisper of jealousy, and no scheme of man will be able to deny what God has ordained for your life. I want you to hear this with all the strength of your heart. The season you are walking through is not wasted. Every tear you cried in secret, every night you lay awake wrestling with questions, every moment you felt betrayed or abandoned, God was watching. And God, who is faithful beyond measure, has been storing up blessings for the appointed time. There is a day marked on heaven's calendar when the breakthrough will come. And it will not come in silence. It will come in such a way that even those who cursed you will have to confess. Surely the hand of God is upon them. That is the kind of blessing God is preparing. A blessing that carries the weight of undeniable glory. Do not mistake the silence of God for His absence. Do not think for one moment that, because the heavens seemed quiet, He has forgotten you. The silence of God is often the preparation of God. Just as the seed must remain buried in the soil before it breaks forth into the beauty of the harvest, so too must you endure this season of hiddenness before the appointed blessing is revealed. And let me assure you, when it bursts forth, it will not be a small thing. It will not be a minor victory. No, God is preparing something that will turn the eyes of even your enemies toward you, and they will not be able to deny the glory of the one who has lifted you up. Think about those who stood against you, those who whispered lies, those who closed doors in your face. God saw it all. But God has a way of taking the very thing that were meant to destroy you and turning them into the platform of your elevation. Remember, God does not bless you in secret just so you can survive. God blesses you openly, so His power may be known, so His glory may be revealed, and so that no man can claim the credit for what has happened in your life. This is why the blessing coming your way will not just encourage you. It will silence your enemies. It will dismantle their accusations. It will expose their jealousy. It will prove that no matter what weapon was formed against you, it could not prosper, because God Himself has been your shield. Right now, you may feel like nothing is moving. You may feel as though the doors are still closed, as though the prayers are still unanswered, as though the storms are still raging. But I want to tell you something. Delay is not denial. The blessing has not been canceled. It has only been prepared. And the preparation of God is greater than the imagination of man. When you receive what God is preparing, you will understand why the wait was necessary. You will realize that if the blessing had come earlier, it might have been smaller, weaker, unguarded. But because God made you wait, He is perfecting it, strengthening it, magnifying it until it is ready to overwhelm every doubt and silence every enemy in your life. There is a power in being underestimated. People may have looked at you and counted you out. They may have decided you had no future, no influence, no chance of rising. But what they failed to understand is that they were not the authors of your story. God is the author, and when God writes a chapter, no enemy can erase it. The very people who thought they buried you will watch in shock as you rise, not by your own strength, but by the undeniable power of God. This is not the end for you. It is only the beginning of the blessing and is about to unfold. But let me remind you, my friends, that God does not prepare blessings in a casual way. He is deliberate. He is intentional. He is purposeful. When God sets His hand to work in your life, He aligns circumstances, people, and even the timing of events so that everything unfolds with divine precision. What may feel like chaos to you is actually order in the hands of God. What may feel like loss is actually preparation. The disappointment that nearly broke you was not the end of your story. It was the clearing away of false foundations, so that God could build something unshakable. The people who left you may have thought they weakened you, but in truth, their departure only positioned you to stand in a place where the blessing of God can be revealed without interference. This is the mystery of God's blessing. It often comes after the breaking. The oil does not flow until the olive is crushed. The fragrance does not rise until the spice is ground. The brilliance of gold is not revealed until it has passed through the fire. And so it is with you. God has allowed the pressure. He has allowed the crushing. He has allowed the fire not because He has abandoned you, but because He is preparing something so weighty, so glorious, that only a vessel purified by trial could carry it. When the blessing arrives, it will not just lift you. It will shine through you. And those who doubted will be silenced not by your words, but by the undeniable evidence of God's favor on your life. There are those who laughed at your struggles, who whispered about your failures, who thought your end had already been written. But hear me, God has reserved the final word for Himself. And the preparing to release over your life is not failure, not forgotten. For the word He is preparing is blessed. And when God speaks, bless over a life, no curse, no betrayal, no enemy, no setback can overturn it. What God has ordained, no one can cancel. And when the appointed moment arrives, the same mouths that mocked you will have no choice but to acknowledge that it was God and God alone who raised you up. Do you understand the weight of this truth? The blessing God is preparing is not just about your comfort. It is about His glory. It is about His power being demonstrated in such a way that no human can claim responsibility. That is why it must shock your enemies. Because if the blessing were small, they could explain it away. If it were ordinary, they could claim it was coincidence. But when it comes in such abundance, in such power, in such undeniable force, they will be struck silent, because it will be clear to every watching eye that this was no accident. This was the hand of God. Hold on, therefore, with unshakable faith. Do not let your heart grow weary. The delay is not a denial. It is a setup. God is setting the stage for a revelation that will not only change your life, but also testify to His greatness in the presence of those who thought you were finished. They expected to see you fall, but they will see you rise. They expected to see you broken, but they will see you restored. They expected to see you diminished, but they will see you enlarged. For the Word of God declares that when He opens a door, no man can shut it. And when He shuts a door, no man can open it. That is the authority of God. And that authority is moving on your behalf even now. Do not think for a moment that God has forgotten the tears you have cried in the secret place. Every tear that has rolled down your cheek has been seen. Every silent prayer has been heard. Every broken moment has been gathered into the hands of the Almighty. Nothing you have endured has been wasted. God is a redeemer of time, a restorer of what was stolen, and a multiplier of what was lost. And when He restores, He never gives back the same measure you lost. He gives back an overflowing abundance. When God prepares a blessing, He prepares it in such a way that it makes the years of pain seem small in comparison to the weight of His goodness revealed. There are those who plotted against you, who rejoiced at your setbacks, who celebrated your downfall. They believed your silence meant defeat. They thought your hidden season meant you were finished. But what they fail to understand is that God often hides His greatest work in silence until the appointed time. Just as the roots of a mighty tree grow strongest beneath the soil where no eye can see, so too has God been strengthening you in the hidden place. And when the time comes, what emerges will not be fragile. It will be unshakable. The very ones who mocked your waiting will be silenced by the strength of your rising. The world may measure your value by titles, possessions, or the opinions of others. But God measures differently. God sees faith where others see weakness. God sees resilience where others see defeat. God sees endurance where others see failure. And it is this unseen faith, this quiet endurance, this steadfast trust in the midst of trials that has drawn the attention of heaven. While others ignored you, God was watching. While others counted you out, God was counting every sacrifice. And it is this hidden faithfulness that is now pulling forth a blessing so magnificent that no enemy will be able to explain it away. Hear me clearly. The blessing God is preparing is not ordinary. It is not a simple solution to your current struggles. It is not a small token to make you feel comforted. No, this blessing is monumental. It is designed to lift you to a level where your very life becomes a testimony. It is the kind of blessing that does not just improve your situation, but transforms it. It is the kind of blessing that not only lifts you out of the pit, but sets your feet upon a rock where all can see that it was the hand of God that delivered you. And the beauty of this blessing is that it will not just elevate you, it will silence every tongue that rose in judgment, every hand that rose in opposition, every heart that rose in envy. This is why you must endure. This is why you cannot give up, because the weight of what God is preparing requires your patience. The depth of the blessing requires your endurance. God is not preparing something shallow for you. He is preparing something eternal, something lasting, something so glorious that even generations after you will feel the impact of it. The blessing will not only silence your enemies in the present, it will echo as a testimony to the faithfulness of God long after the voices of your enemies have faded. Do you realize what happens when God decides to honor someone? It confuses the plans of the wicked. It frustrates the schemes of the envious. It overturns the lies of the accuser. When God blesses you openly, He does it in such a way that those who doubted you are forced to bear witness to His glory. The same people who dug pits for you will see you elevated. The same people who closed doors on you will watch as God opens doors no man can shut. And the very people who thought they buried you will stand in shock as you rise higher than they ever imagined. This is the power of a blessing prepared by the hand of God. But listen carefully. God's blessing is not simply about your vindication. It is about His glory. God blesses you not so you can boast in yourself, but so you can point to Him. God blesses you so that His name may be magnified, so that others may know there is a God who sees, who cares, who defends, who delivers, and who exalts those who trust in Him. And when your enemies see the blessing upon you, they will know it was not by your cleverness, not by your strength, not by your influence, but by the hand of God alone. That is why your story matters. That is why your endurance matters. Because when the blessing comes, it will not only change your life, it will shine as a light to others. People who once doubted the goodness of God will have no choice but to reconsider when they see how God has lifted you. People who once laughed at your faith will be confronted with the evidence of its reward. People who once mocked your prayers will be silenced by the undeniable answer that falls on your life. That is the kind of blessing God is preparing. There are moments in life when everything around you seems to conspire against your progress. The voices of critics grow louder. The betrayals cut deeper. The disappointments pile higher. And yet in those very moments, the Spirit of God is working in silence, shaping a destiny that no adversary can destroy. Your enemies may think they have you surrounded, but what they cannot see is that heaven surrounds you with a greater power. They may think they have written the final chapter of your story, but the author of life has not lifted his pen. God is still writing. And when His chapter unfolds, it will not just shift your circumstances, it will silence your enemies with the undeniable weight of His favor. Remember this truth. Enemies are often the unwitting witnesses to your blessing. Their opposition is not greater than God's plan. In fact, it often becomes the very stage upon which God chooses to display His glory. The pits dug for you will become the ground from which your testimony rises. The words spoken against you will be drowned out by the thunder of God's blessing. And the faces that once looked upon you with scorn will one day look upon you with awe. Not because of who you are, but because of what God has done through you. Do not despise the fact that you have enemies. Sometimes it is the presence of enemies that signals the nearness of breakthrough. A barren field has no thieves, but a fruitful vineyard always attracts them. If your life feels under attack, it may be because heaven has marked you for fruitfulness. If opposition has risen against you, it may be because the blessing is near and the adversary trembles at what God is about to release. But take heart, no scheme, no trap, no plan devised in the shadows can stand against the word that God has spoken over your life. When God prepares a blessing, He prepares it with a shield that no weapon can pierce and a seal that no enemy can break. Lift your faith higher in this season. Do not let your eyes rest on what is seen. Fix them on what is unseen. For the unseen hand of God is more powerful than the visible schemes of man. The blessing that is being prepared for you is not fragile. It is not temporary. It is not shallow. It is a blessing rooted in eternity, secured by the decree of God, and destined to outlast every season of trial. When it comes, it will come like a flood, sudden, undeniable, overwhelming. And those who opposed you will stand powerless in the face of it. Understand this. The purpose of the blessing is not to humiliate your enemies, but to glorify your God. When your enemies are silenced, it is not because they have been crushed under your hand, but because they have seen the evidence of God's hand. And in that moment, their words lose power. Their accusations lose weight. Their opposition loses credibility. They are silenced not by your defense, but by God's demonstration. And the demonstration of God is always greater than the argument of man. You may ask, and why does God allow me to go through so much before the blessing arrives? Because the greater the testimony, the greater the impact. If you had never been betrayed, the vindication would not be as powerful. If you had never been rejected, the acceptance of God's favor would not shine as brightly. If you had never walked through the valley, the mountain of blessing would not stand as tall. God allows the trial so that the blessing carries the weight of undeniable contrast. Your enemies will be shocked not only by your rising, but by the fact that you rose after everything you endured. So I say to you, hold your ground. Stand in faith. Keep your hands lifted even when your heart feels heavy. The blessing is nearer than you think. God has already written the date of your deliverance. God has already prepared the door of your breakthrough. God has already commanded the provision for your need. And when the fullness of time arrives, nothing will be able to delay it. It will come suddenly. It will come powerfully. And it will come in such a way that no one will be able to doubt that it was God and God alone who lifted you up. Think of it this way. Your enemies may have the first word, but they will not have the last word. The lies may have been spoken. The accusations may have been thrown. The judgments may have been passed, but none of them carry eternal authority. Only God's word stands forever. And when He declares you blessed, no enemy, no circumstance, no season of hardship can overturn it. The last word belongs to God. And the last word over your life is blessing. There will come a moment when those who tried to bury you with lies will no longer be able to speak. Their tongues will fail them, because what they said will be proven false in the light of what God has done. And when that day comes, you will not even need to defend yourself. The blessing itself will be your defense. The evidence of God's hand on your life will silence every critic, dismantle every false story, and erase every trace of shame that was unjustly placed upon you. For what God vindicates, no man can condemn. Do you understand how powerful this is? God is not preparing something ordinary. He is preparing something that will demand attention. He is crafting a blessing so undeniable that even your adversaries will be forced to acknowledge it. This is why you have walked through seasons that others could not understand. This is why you faced opposition that seemed unfair. This is why the trials pressed against you so heavily. because was setting you apart for something that could not be birthed in comfort. Great blessings are born out of great trials, and those trials have only made you ready for the glory that is about to unfold. The world may think that silence is defeat, but in the realm of God, silence is often strategy. God hides you until the time is right. He veils you until the stage has been prepared. And when the curtain lifts, He reveals you not as the broken vessel people assumed you were, but as the refined vessel He has shaped for His glory. Your blessing will not appear too early, nor will it appear too late. It will come in the appointed moment, and when it comes, it will strike like lightning, sudden, undeniable, impossible to ignore. Many of you have been carrying questions in your heart. Why have I had to suffer so much? Why have I been overlooked? Why have I been betrayed by those I trusted? And the answer is this: God was preparing you to carry a blessing so weighty that lesser trials would not have been enough to shape you. You needed the fire because the blessing carries fire. You needed the pressure because the blessing carries authority. You needed the pain because the blessing carries healing. Without the trial, you would not be ready for the triumph. Without the breaking, you would not be ready for the breakthrough. But now the hour of preparation is giving way to the hour of demonstration. God is preparing to move in such a way that even the most hardened skeptic will be left speechless. And when this blessing falls upon your life, it will not be subtle. It will not be something you can hide. It will radiate so brightly. It will echo so loudly that those who try to diminish you will have no choice but to step back in awe. They will not be able to steal it. They will not be able to explain it. And they will not be able to deny it. They will simply have to admit that the hand of God has done this. And I say to you, do not be afraid of their shock. Do not be afraid of their silence. Do not be afraid when those who once mocked you are forced to witness the blessing upon your life. For this is not about vengeance. It is about testimony. God is not blessing you to destroy your enemies. He is blessing you to reveal Himself. And sometimes the silence of your enemies is the loudest testimony of all. Because when they have no words left, when they cannot explain it, when they cannot touch it, the only conclusion left is that this was the work of God. Take courage in this, beloved. Your life is about to shift from hidden struggle to undeniable blessing. The same people who turned away from you will have to watch it as doors open that no man can shut. The same people predicted your downfall will have to watch as you rise higher than their imagination ever allowed. The same people who laughed at your faith will have to watch as that faith produces fruit in abundance. And the shock in their faces will not be your glory. It will be God's glory. It will be the visible proof that no one who trusts in God is ever put to shame. So wait with faith. Stand with confidence. Do not look at the ground when your head was meant to be lifted. You are not forgotten. You are not forsaken. You are not invisible to the eyes of heaven. Even now the wheels of divine preparation are turning. Even now God is aligning the pieces. Even now the blessing is taking shape. And when the moment comes, it will be unstoppable. No man will be able to delay it. No adversary will be able to divert it. No scheme will be able to destroy it, because it was not prepared by human hands. It was prepared by God Himself. The hour is coming when the very ones who whispered behind your back will whisper in astonishment. Not because of what you have done, but because of what God has done for you. Their eyes will widen, their hearts will tremble, and their voices will falter. For the blessing about to manifest in your life will not be explainable by logic or effort. It will only be explainable by the power of God. That is why the Scripture tells us not to put our trust in men, not to lean on the arm of flesh, but to trust in God with all our hearts. Because when God blesses, He blesses beyond the reach of men, beyond the imagination of enemies, and beyond the limits of this world. And let me tell you, when God prepares a blessing, He does not prepare it in fragments. He prepares it in fullness. He prepares it in a way that overflows. The cup will not merely be filled. It will run over. And when it runs over, it spills into every area of your life, your home, your relationships, your purpose, your destiny. This is not the kind of blessing you will have to explain. It will speak for itself. The light of it will radiate. The fruit of it will testify. The abundance of it will silence every argument. And all who see it will know that only God could do this. Some of you have been in a season of questions. You have asked Khan, when will the break tears end? When will the struggle cease? And I say to you, God is not late. God is not delaying without purpose. God is preparing, and the preparation of God always takes longer than the expectation of man. But hear this, when the appointed time arrives, it will happen suddenly. Suddenly, the chains will break. Suddenly, the doors will open. Suddenly, the blessing will pour out. And those who thought you were stuck will stand, stunned as they watch you rise. Do not be moved by what you see now. Do not measure your destiny by your current season. What you see today is not the end of the story. It is merely the setup for what is coming. God often allows you to walk through a valley, so that when you stand upon the mountain, the contrast will glorify His name. He allows the storm so that when He speaks peace, the testimony will shake the hearts of those who doubted. He allows the breaking so that when He brings the blessing, it will carry a weight that cannot be ignored. And make no mistake, this blessing is not just for you. It is for the generations that come after you. It is for the communities connected to you. It is for the lives that will be touched by your testimony. God never blesses in isolation. He blesses in multiplication. When He lifts you, He lifts everything connected to you. When He opens the door, He opens it wide enough for others to walk there after you. When He shines His light upon you, it becomes a beacon for others still trapped in the dark. And your enemies, who thought they could stop you, will have to watch as the blessing ripples outward beyond even your own reach. Think of how powerful this is. The same mouths that once spoke curses will have to admit the truth. The same hands that once pushed you down will not be able to reach you when God lifts you up. The same eyes that looked upon you with scorn will now see the evidence of God's glory shining from your life. And this will not come because you begged them for recognition. It will not come because you sought their approval. It will come because God Himself has chosen to honor you. And when God honors, no man can dishonor. Hold on then with unwavering faith. The shaking you have endured was not to destroy you. It was to prepare you. The fire you walked through was not to consume you. It was to refine you. The silence you endured was not to abandon you. It was to strengthen your dependence on God. And now, as you stand at the edge of breakthrough, know this. The blessing being prepared has already been decreed in heaven, and nothing on earth can stop its arrival. Your enemies will be shocked, not simply because you were blessed, but because you were blessed beyond their expectation. They thought you would survive, but they did not expect you to thrive. They thought you might rise, but they did not expect you to soar. They thought you might recover, but they did not expect you to overflow. This is the nature of God's blessing. It goes beyond what men imagine, beyond what enemies expect, beyond what the world can calculate. Let me tell you, when God prepares a blessing, He does it in such a way that even time itself must bow to His plan. The years you thought were wasted, the seasons you thought were stolen, the opportunities you thought were gone forever, God redeems them all in one moment of His favor. And when that moment comes, it will not only restore what was lost, it will multiply it. That is why your enemies will be silenced, because the blessing will not simply put you back where you were. It will place you far beyond where you have been without the trial. They expected to see you crawl out of the ashes, but instead they will watch you soar above the flames. This is the mystery of God's power. He allows the fire to test you, but then He uses that very fire to illuminate you. He allows the valley to humble you, but then He uses that very valley to exalt you. He allows the enemy to rise against you, but then He uses that very opposition to showcase His deliverance. What was designed to break you becomes the evidence of His blessing. What was meant to end you becomes the very testimony that establishes you. And when your enemies see this, they will have no words left, because it will be undeniable that the hand of God was upon you all along. You see, man's recognition is fragile. It can be given and taken away. But when God marks you, no enemy can erase it. When God sets His seal upon you, no adversary can remove it. And when God lifts you, no power in heaven or earth can push you back down. That is why the blessing He is preparing is not dependent on the opinions of people, nor is it limited by the schemes of your enemies. It is anchored in the authority of God, and that authority cannot be challenged. Some of you have been asking in your heart, why did God allow the betrayal? Why did He allow the rejection? Why did He allow the pain? And the answer is this: the betrayal was the classroom for your blessing. The rejection was the training ground for your strength. Pain was the fire that forged your endurance. Without it, you would not be ready for what is about to come. Without it, you would not have the resilience to carry the weight of the blessing. God never wastes a wound. Every scar you carry has prepared you to handle the glory that is on its way. And when it comes, those who caused the wounds will be silenced by the very greatness that their actions prepared you to receive. Do not be deceived by appearances. Right now, you may feel hidden. You may feel small. You may feel overlooked. But what looks like hiding to man is often protecting to God. He hides you until you are ready. He covers you until the time is right. He shields you until the blessing has matured. And then when the hour strikes, He reveals you in such a way that no enemy can deny, no critic can discredit, no voice can diminish. That is the preparation of God. Quiet, steady, intentional, until the moment of unveiling that shocks the world. And here, the blessing is not just about lifting you. It is about positioning you. God blesses you to put you in a place of influence, a place of testimony, a place where your very life speaks louder than any sermon. And that is why the blessing shocks your enemies, because it places you in a position they never imagined you could stand in. They thought you would stay in the background, but God places you in the forefront. They thought you would remain forgotten, but God makes your name a testimony. They thought you would remain small, but God expands your territory until their envy has no words left. This is the way of God. He takes the stone the builders rejected and makes it the cornerstone. He takes the forgotten and makes them favored. He takes the broken and makes them whole. And when he does, the world stands in silence, because there is no argument against what only God can do. That is the blessing being prepared for you, a blessing that not only lifts you, but transforms the perception of everyone around you. So walk with boldness even in the waiting. Speak with confidence even in the silence. Carry yourself with dignity even in the valley, because you are not waiting in vain. You are waiting in preparation. The tables are turning. The stage is being set. The breakthrough is approaching. And when it comes, it will come with such force, such clarity, such abundance, that your enemies will be left in awe. They will not be able to deny the truth, that it was the hand of God and God alone who has done this. And so I say to you with every ounce of conviction in my soul, do not give up. Do not look back. Do not allow discouragement to rob you of the victory that is already on its way. The blessing that God is preparing for you is greater than the pain you endured, greater than the lies that were spoken, greater than the betrayal that cut you, and greater than the enemies that rose against you. It is a blessing designed to shock, to silence, to overwhelm, not to humiliate your enemies, but to glorify your God, not to exalt your name, but to magnify His. The waiting has not been wasted. The tears have not been ignored. The prayers have not been forgotten. Every season of hiddenness has been building toward this moment. And when it comes, you will stand not in your strength, but in the strength of God. You will rise not because of man's approval, but because of God's decree. You will walk in blessing, not because of luck, but because of divine preparation. And the beauty of it all, that those who tried to stop, you will have to bear witness to what they could not prevent. Lift your head high. Walk in faith, for expect with boldness. For the blessing is not a dream. It is a certainty. It is on the horizon. It is approaching swiftly. And when it arrives, it will leave no room for doubt. Your enemies will be silenced. Your critics will be confounded. And your life will stand as a testimony that when God prepares a blessing, no force in heaven or earth can stop it. Take courage, for your time is near. Hold steady, for the promise is secure. Believe with all your heart, for the one who spoke it will surely bring it to pass. And when it comes, give all glory to God, for He alone to the protector, the provider, and the lifter of your life. The blessing is coming. The blessing is certain. The blessing is near. And when it falls upon you, it will shock even your enemies.